Good morning and welcome to AM Prime. I'm Nikolai Edwards. And this morning I want to start things off talking about public transportation here in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And the question is really, do you take public transportation? Public transportation could range from PTSC buses, so you might take one of those buses along your route, whether to work, to get home, or what have you. The deluxe coach, you have the water taxi as well, and the inter-island ferry. So these are all modes of public transportation which are supported by the state. Outside of that, of course, you have private vehicles, private taxis, and well, hired vehicles more or less. So all of these things are available, but putting focus on the PTSC, Public Transportation Service Corporation. Well, I saw an article that spoke to a 69% customer satisfaction. So last year, PTSC would have polled its ridership, and there are 69% of customers who are satisfied with the service. Now, this is an increase over the 44% that they had received in 2016. That's a 44% in terms of satisfaction. Now, what are some of the reasons why people don't take public transportation service? I can tell you from the jump, it's because of the unreliability of the service. Because we do, and we can all agree that it's much cheaper than taking a taxi to get anywhere, or even owning a vehicle. We have rideshare available in this country, but not everyone opts for those other options. So PTSC has been around for some time, and the fact is that a lot of people just don't feel as though it will be a reliable source of transportation. I can attest to getting here every morning using a deluxe coach from San Fernando to Port of Spain, and that's just $10 compared to $22 if you were to take a hired vehicle. So when you look at the maths and the economies of scale, of course, it makes more sense to use public transport. But there are a number of issues that commuters face on a daily basis. Buses are shutting down left, right, and center. Drivers who are unreliable in some sense. And the schedule may not be as user-friendly as one may think. So one of the biggest things that I know many people are deterred from, especially people of my generation and below, is the fact that you still have to use that traditional way of going and purchasing physical tickets to jump on a PTSC bus. So what about if you are along the journey, along the route, and you don't have a ticket outlet that you can go to nearby? What's your scenario? Well, you can stop the bus and have the chance of maybe asking someone on the bus to buy a ticket from them. But if that doesn't work out, well, you're just not getting on that bus. And those are some of the problems that commuters are facing. So the PTSC had moved to implement a system whereby you can purchase tickets online. But hear this, you can't purchase regular tickets to board a bus. You can't purchase tickets for their tours and so on. So when are we going to get to that stage? Well, as it stands right now, there was a Public Accounts Committee meeting which examined the accounts of the PTSC for the period 2014 to 2018. And in response to the PSC chairman, Dave Tanku, the PTSC vice chairman, Robin Rambisad, said PTSC's target in its strategic plan of 90% customer satisfaction was probably too ambitious, since the international best practice is 80%. But why can't we get to 90% or even 99% customer satisfaction? We constantly compare ourselves to other countries, but what we have here locally, I think it really allows for an opportunity to involve creativity, ingenuity, and to be customer focused. Because the fact is that you have, out of the 163 intended routes in this country, it will need 500 buses to service those routes. Well, you want to know how many of those routes are actually serviced and how many buses are on those routes? Well, it's between 160 to 170 working buses, and they only service about 79 out of the 163 routes. That leaves a lot to be desired. And we constantly hear from the Minister of Works and Transport that PTSC is procuring 300 buses. Well, I feel as though I've been hearing that since Adam was a boy. The fact is that PTSE has not been able to procure those buses just yet, and it is posing a problem. Now, the latest information that we're getting is that those buses will be procured starting or expected to arrive in the second to third quarter of 2024. Well, to be honest, I wouldn't really hold my breath when it comes to that. But we'll see what happens. The fact is that you have a ridership where 13% of those persons using the buses on a daily basis are persons who don't directly pay for PTSE transport, because you have the Ministry of Social Development who pays for persons aged 60 and over. So when you think about an older person jumping on a PTSE bus and flashing their ID card, you may think, well, nobody has to pay for that. Well, in fact, the driver records that information and it makes its way over to the Ministry of Social Development, and taxpayers have to pay for that. Another rider group who utilize PTSE for free would be students in uniform. But it's time that we reform this entire system, and one of the best ways to do that is to ensure that we improve on our maintenance of the PTSE fleet. This way, we won't have as much the problem of buses shutting down or water falling on you while you are in the bus because of a faulty air-conditioned system. It makes me wonder sometimes if it's a PTSE bus or the water taxi. Well, those are some of the issues that I'm sure riders can tell you from now till next year need to be fixed. But I want to encourage you, if you have not or don't usually take a PTSE bus, jump on one, because at least it would improve or increase in the long run the opportunity for PTSE to know that there is a demand for it, and that if the government were to invest seriously in PTSE, a large cross-section of the population would benefit. I can tell you, not too long ago, I remember I was going to the airport and traveling from San Fernando. I jumped on a PTSE bus, dropped off at Mount Hope, caught a Piaco bus from there, and remember, suitcases in tow, and made it all the way to the airport. And guess how much I paid? Less than $12. So there is promise, there is viability, but we have to call on the state to make those investments strategically so that at the end of it all, when it comes to issues of traffic, when it comes to issues of not even being able to afford a vehicle in this time, at least you might be able to rely on an efficient and effective public transportation service corporation. So let's see what happens. Let's see if those buses arrive in the country, and let's see how much of a focus we pay on improving public transport in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, not just for locals, but also for the international visitors who come to our shores expecting a seamless commute from point A to point B. So just something to think about. And at this point, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have a lot in store for you this morning. Stay with us. We're here on WESM. This is AM Prime.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best.
I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
Only on WESN.
the content capital.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Welcome back to AM Prime. I'm Nikolai Edwards. When last have you attended a fun day? I remember very fond memories. As a child growing up, you would want to go to a lot of these sporting activities. You go to sports day, you go to bazaars and so forth. And I just felt over the years that we've seen a lot of these activities diminishing, especially at the community level. And those were good ways of fostering community engagement, an opportunity to network, and just to have some clean fun. Well, you have an opportunity to attend a fun day, and it's for a good cause. The Lara family is presenting its High Five Fun Day, which is a fundraising event. And to tell us a bit more about this fundraising event, we have Anna Howell. She is a medical student, and she's much of the focus of this activity because the funds raised from this would go toward supporting and assisting her. And we have Anna joining us via Zoom this morning. Anna, good morning and welcome to AM Prime.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Excellent. And this activity, as I was mentioning before, these kinds of community level engagements and activities, we don't really see them happening as much. And one wonders, okay, an activity like this, how can we raise funds and how can it be a model really to get support at a community level? We know that we talk about when you have to raise funds, you have to have cake sales and barbecues and endless curry queues. But this is taking the form of a fun day. Could you tell me a bit about the genesis of this and what are some of the things that you all are expecting to accomplish coming out of this fundraising activity?
So initially, barbecues and curry queues were the main goal because that's what everyone thinks about. And one day it just came to me like, let's try a fun day and see how best we can generate revenue. Yes, we want to generate revenue, but yet still we want to give back to the community. As you say, we see these things depleting. COVID would have affected us really badly when it comes to sports and coming out and interacting with persons and so forth. So I would have thought of this and I thought of High Five Fun Day. Let's have a $5 fun day event. $5 is very minimal, but yet still, it's a comfortable range where persons could come out with the entire family and still have fun without feeling overburdened by the expenses.
Understood. And what exactly are the funds expected to take care of?
So it definitely goes towards tuition where I am concerned. I would have practically started medical school last year and I would have lost my sponsorship in the middle of the semester. It was devastating. It was not a good feeling, but I know I had to overcome this feeling and get myself back out there and do what is necessary to help me. And my family would have talked about it. They came on board and hence the reason, it's coming alive.
Gotcha. And just a bit of background to yourself. Where did your interest in the field of medicine come from and when exactly did you begin your program?
So going to high school, typical Grey's Anatomy is what piqued my interest into medicine. With my friends and so forth, we started looking at the TV series, and it's just from there, just sparked something. And when I was younger as well too, I used to visit the San Fernando General Hospital with my aunt. We used to visit the pediatric department with the kids. And honestly, that as well too would have really made me commit to medicine, seeing kids there. I mean, like, the attention and care was so lacking, God knows, and it really, really sparked something in me, and I'm like, okay, I have to, and I want to be someone different. I know we hear this very often, but I really want to have that time to really, just talk to patients, because yes, I know care is about medicine, but sometimes just talking to them helps as well too.
Yeah. And when did you start your program?
So I would have did my bachelor's in biomedical in 2014 at the University of the Southern Caribbean. And last year, which is 2022, I would have started the American University of Antigua School of Medicine.
So therefore, it would be that you are having to go to classes in Antigua itself?
Yes, I have been in Antigua.
Right. And as you said that you had lost your sponsorship, are you in a position to tell us a bit more about how that happened? Because we do hear these horror stories of persons getting committed funds, whether support from the government or elsewhere, and then they're forced a lot of times along the program to drop out for whatever reason. And I think that people have to be aware that these are the realities that people face, and especially the kind of effects or impacts that it has on the student, that hopeful student, thinking, I'm going to go through my program all the way, no hiccups and so forth. The biggest challenge would be passing exams, but here you have another hurdle to overcome. So if you can share with us a bit more about that.
Sure. Initially, when I started the program, I thought passing exams would have been the main hurdle to get over until I started. And I mean, like, you meet people from different parts of the world, and you just never know what they have. So, like, I'm coming from the small Caribbean island. I want to prove myself. And surprisingly, I was top of my class, literally. And then, this horror story came. I lose my sponsorship due to financial issues on their end. Wasn't anything concerning me. And from there, it's like mentally everything was off the balance. And I had to pull myself together because of my performance, and performing well, they allowed me to finish the semester because I had to explain to the school what had happened and so forth. So, they bared with me, and thank God for that as well too. So I know my mind really wasn't at the right place. Going through that is like, because, finally you're here, being a first generation medical student, it meant so much, not just for me, but my entire family. Yes. And then, you had to go through this, and I'm like, what, Lord, we have to do this. I will get through this. I completed semester, thank God. And I've been home this semester, but, we're working towards getting back in July. That's the main aim right now.
And trust and believe you will get back into the program in July, because, the mere fact that you're coming out here, you're asking for help. And it's not just that, people who come out and you have your hands open, so as they say, but you are offering something that people can come out, have fun, and put their money toward a good cause. Now, how long again do you have for the program? Let's say once you start back July, next month, that is, how long again would it be until you've completed your program?
It would be 4 years. So the entire program is 4.5 years. So I practically would have done one semester, which was half. Yeah. So I have 4 years again to go. 2 years when it comes to preclinicals, like theory path in school, and the other 2 years will be more or less moving to the US to do our clinicals.
Understood. And in terms of that figure, because there may be persons who are looking on, and who knows, you might get a call and a check, but people may want to know what that figure that you're going after, for you to be able to complete those next 4 years, what does that look like?
So roughly, I calculated the first 2.5 years for the preclinical. It came up to around 537,000 TT. So medical school is very costly. Yes. And so, because I got a partial scholarship from the school as well too. So thank God for that. So because of that scholarship, it came up to 537. And if I were to add the other 2 years, that's probably another $500,000 as well. So roughly $1 million to finish this entire program.
Sure. And just a question that people may want to ask as well. In terms of going to this school as opposed to, let's say, the University of the West Indies and pursuing medicine there, what are some of the benefits of going to the school that you have chosen to versus the University of the West Indies or elsewhere where it's offered?
When it comes to AUA, well, American University of Antigua, they offer, which is a straight MD program, which is a Doctor of Medicine, more or less like a master's level. Whereas at UE, it's more or less a bachelor's. So you do like an MBBS program. So I practically would have done a bachelor's in biomedical, which is kind of like a little step more advanced to go into UE, because most persons, they go straight from secondary school. They probably would have done like the N1 program, I believe, and then they transfer into the MBBS program. So I would have done an entire degree. So going to the MBBS, that's like additional 5 to 7 years, and then to do an MD, which is additional 4 years. So it's going to take a lot more time. And another benefit with Antigua is that, you get licensed where you can practice in the US, so you could get, more advanced training and so forth. And my aim is to come back to Trinidad, to give that care and attention to home, because, I would have gotten the support from the government back at home, through GATE and so forth. And I'm very grateful for that. And my initial aim is to work at home. But I would love to get that experience out there, As I said, I'm a first generation medical student. None of my family haven't really went out of Trinidad to study and so forth. So I was really grateful, for the opportunity that I could have left Trinidad, started something new for my family, something that they can pattern after. So it's not just to benefit me, but it's to benefit everyone that coming up after me as well too.
Understood. And I can actually relate to some of the things that you're dealing with there, because I started law school at the University of the West Indies back in 2019. And at that point, of course, I would have been fortunate enough to benefit from GATE, because I did a bachelor's degree, a postgrad diploma, and even a master's. And I would have gotten funding up to even the master's, half of that tuition coming from the government, and the other having to put that out of pocket. But then I decided that I wanted to do law, especially with considering politics, considering assisting with drafting legislation and so forth. And I realized, that really was a passion of mine. And it aligned with the programs that I had done before. So I made the decision to start knowing fully well that I was not going to get GATE, but I would have to fund this out of pocket. And the sad reality is that for me and many other students or many other prospective students, funding is a challenge. And the opportunities in this country seem to be drying up on an almost daily basis. So I've been looking for a stable job to fund my education, and that in itself has been challenging, having to take a leave of absence for multiple years to try to get your footing to do the program. And not a lot of people understand that these are some of the challenges that we who decide to pursue education have to grapple with, because we've been told by our parents and our grandparents that you have to go to school, get an education, and you will get a good job. Well, many of us are still waiting on that last part, to get a good job. And so you have no choice but to return to education, to try to get more qualifications so that even more your chances would improve of getting that job opportunity. And then we think of, GATE is hemorrhaging money, this, that, and the other. But our system is not really as student-centered as one would think, because you have students who coming into the tertiary education system, they are unprepared because the secondary school system does not adequately prepare you for university life, and we have to be honest about that. Yeah. So when you get to university and you're trying to figure your things out, it's difficult to get your footing, and there is this mad rush for you to decide on these courses and these programs, and it might be overwhelming. You have to have not just tuition in some cases, but accommodation and so on, and students tend to burn out really quickly. It's not a discussion that we're having nationally as we should, but this is the reality. And it's so sad to watch that students such as yourself, who may be dependent on others or other institutions to help get to that point of being educated and then falling victim to just the economy, falling victim to a lack of opportunities that affect or impact on you by drying up your funding. So I definitely can relate, and I think that these stories are so very important for us to share so that the population at large and even policymakers are firmly aware of some of these challenges. But one of the things that I'm grateful to see is that you have hope. And let's jump into more about this fundraising activity, because as I said, the whole idea of a fun day, the High Five Fun Day, which is expected to take place at the Edinburgh 500 grounds in Shogunas on the 19th. So that is next week, Monday. Tell us a bit more of some of the activities that persons who come out in their numbers can expect.
Sure. So at this fun day, we're trying to get things that everyone can enjoy. So some of the activities we're going to have there, we're going to have carnival games. A lot of people, when I mentioned it, they were kind of unsure of what it entails. Yeah. So it entails stuff like, ring toss, hoop shoot, beanbag toss, lucky dip, duck hunt, and so forth. So many, many fun things. And then besides that, we have the fire service crew coming out. We're going to do sports games, more like obstacle races and so forth. Besides that, we also have our VR games, which is the virtual reality games. We have the champion ride. We have the mountain branch coming with the horses, so persons can also ride the horses. We have nurses going to be there can have health checkups. We also have a one-day football tournament as well too. We're trying to aim at 10 teams, right? It's more like a five-a-side one-day football tournament. So if you have a football crew and you want to come out to the Savannah and register and be a part of this tournament, feel free. Besides that, for kids, we have bouncy castle, we have face painting and so forth, and also kids can participate in all the other games as well too. Yes. And then besides that, we will have food and drinks on sale, cotton candy, popcorn, snow cone. So we're getting towards the whole $5 theme, more or less.
For me, this sounds very exciting. Yes. And it's a holiday, so people who have let's say they're not going to join the Labor Day parade or anything, they intend to be at home relaxing. This is an opportunity to come out, and it's in Shogunas, so that's centrally located. If you're from south, like I am, or if you're from up the highway, as we see, it's a good central point to come out. There will not be any traffic on that day. But one of the things people might be wondering, do you have to register or anything prior to the day to participate, or is that just for the football tournament?
So just for the football tournament, but you can come to on the day and still register your team, because we're trying to start the tournament at 10 a.m. But when it comes to persons participating, you don't have to register. You can come down to the Savannah, because it's more or less going to be like a chit system. So you go to the chit stand, more or less. You purchase your chits. It's $5 per chit, and any game you want to participate in, there will be persons at the different booths, and you just pay a chit and you can participate freely.
And how has the coordination of this been thus far? Because I would imagine that this by itself has been a feat, but clearly you've gotten to the point where it's all pulled together and it's ready to go. How has that coordination been thus far?
I have the support of my family. Thank God for that. And even friends and so forth. So everyone, they're coming together and they're helping. So it's my first time, hosting something like this. So, I've been a bit inexperienced, but it has been a good experience. So thank God for that.
Excellent. And these things build character. It opens your eyes to a lot of what is going on out there in terms of, it's not easy to pull together an event, and I'm sure that you're learning that. But with the right support and the best vision going out there and sticking to that strategy, you would definitely be successful. Is this something that we can look forward to from you and your family moving forward, or do you see this as a one-time event?
I would like to have something moving forward. So I'm more or less looking at the day to see how everything turns out, praying to God that everything turns out successful, because, we're targeting, a huge number of people to come out and support. Yes. So I had persons, who would have asked similar questions if there's something we're going to look forward to in the future. So I'm hoping, I'm looking for the best.
Nice. And I see there on the flyer, we have some contact information. Tell us a bit more about persons who want to get in contact with you, how they can do that. If there are persons who want to make a contribution to this effort, they might not be able to attend the fundraiser, but they still want to support you in terms of following your dream to become a medical doctor and to give back to Trinidad and Tobago, of course. How can they get in contact?
So you can contact me, which is at 474-3061. You can reach me through WhatsApp, or you can just call, or you can call 706-4551. That's my aunt number, Lisa. She is working hand in hand with me, so you can definitely reach out to her as well too.
Excellent.
For any information.
Well, Anna, I definitely wish you the best of luck. I do hope that this activity pulls off and is a success, and all the activities thereafter that you may come up with would be a success, because we really do need to support the young people of this country, because this is the next generation, and it might be much more difficult, surprisingly, than previous generations in terms of the things that we aspire to and actually getting those things underway. So with that, of course, the best of luck, and I do hope to hear, whether it's in 4 years' time, that you have been successful in completing that program. And thanks so much for joining us this morning to share with us.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Excellent. And that was Anna Howe. She is a medical student attending the American University of Antigua and Barbuda, if I have that correct. And she is seeking your assistance in helping to realize her dream of being that medical doctor, because funding fell through for her program. She's already in the program, and with your kind support, she would be able to complete it. So if you can attend the fundraiser next week, Monday, it's taking place on Labor Day, come out there in Shogunas, Edinburgh 500 grounds, and give that support. More information, as she mentioned, you can get in contact with her, and let's just support, because that's what we need right now in this country presently. Folks, with that, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we have more for you here on AM Prime. Stay with us.
Kenny Sports Center is having a Grandfather's Day sale. From now until Sunday 18th June, get an amazing 20% off everything. You heard right, 20% off everything in store. Get all your top brands like Adidas, New Balance, Kinetic, and a lot more. Visit any of our branches today: Port of Spain, West Mall, Long Circular Mall, Trinity Mall, and Carlton Center San Fernando for this amazing 20% off sale. Happy Father's Day from Kenny Sports Center, where dads are appreciated.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
The best birthday gifts are at dbesttoys.com. Shop for the best brands you love at the best prices, like VTech, Leapfrog, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Hot Wheels, Barbie, Cocomelon, LOL, Baby Alive, Crayola. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship MacBean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 32DBEST to order. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
We discuss gestational diabetes, a form of diabetes which develops in pregnant women. This medical condition can affect both the fetus and mother, but can be managed to ensure that you have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby.
From the first trimester, there's an increased risk of miscarriages, an increased risk of fetal abnormalities. So these are congenital. The baby could be born with an abnormality.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Young at heart, purpose-driven, patriot even. When you like to party, but are still passionate about discussing important issues, the only place where your needs will be met is WESN Content Capital.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on it.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Paul?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Welcome back to AM Prime. Let's now shift gears to having a look across the region. What's taking place? What are some of the latest developments and some of the things that you should know, because Trinidad and Tobago is not the only place in the Caribbean, and we acknowledge that. And some of our neighbors are doing excellent things across the board, and which would come to our shores in time if we really think about it. So looking to Barbados, the island's environment minister is on a mission to reduce plastic pollution in a bid to save lives. That is the word from Environment Minister Adrian Ford. He says it is necessary as different substances are released into the environment and ecosystems when plastics degrade. Now, action is necessary. He says as the island and other states continue to face a triple planetary crisis, coupled with 400 million tons of plastics dumped annually worldwide. His comments came during a news conference at his Warren's Towers 2 office this morning. Well, this would have been yesterday morning. The ministry will continue its series of outreaches in schools and communities to encourage behavior change from target groups, especially or additionally rather through the Environmental Protection Department, which is an assessment of plastic waste on the island soon to be conducted. Department head Anthony Headley says this will be funded through a 6-figure grant secured from the Basel Convention Plastic Waste Partnership. And here we have a video with a bit more on this.
We are trying to save lives, to save our environment. That is what we are trying to do inadvertently. Because when these plastics get into our gullies and our ecosystems, where they end up is anybody's guess. We have facts, scientifically of course, that the microplastics, the breakdown of this material, that they can be absorbed into our plant life. And you know, everybody in Barbados know that Barbadians enjoy their fruits. We enjoy our vegetables. So when these dioxins and microplastics get into our plant life, they end up here in our digestive systems.
Barbados competed among over 100 proposals and we were successful, and we are going to be receiving some grant funding around the tune of 170,000 Barbados dollars to conduct an assessment of plastics in Barbados. Our project proposal was entitled Enhancing Opportunities to Create a Circular Economy Through Improved Management of Plastics and Plastics Waste. The intent behind this particular proposal is to look at all of the plastics coming into the island and do what is known as a material flow analysis to allow us to understand in more detail the volumes of plastics that are imported into the island, the distribution of those plastics, and how those plastics get into the waste system.
And of course, it's no surprise that Barbados would be undertaking an effort in this regard, because we've seen over the past couple of years, especially with Prime Minister Mia Mottley at the helm of the government, there has been a strong focus on climate action, ensuring that the effects of climate change, which is impacting on the Caribbean, the Caribbean should not be adding to the disastrous situation. So we have been seeing efforts by Barbados to tackle that, not just at a regional level, but internationally. I know that the Prime Minister there, she would have been recognized as a climate advocate by the United Nations and really doing a lot of work there. So it might be good for Trinidad and Tobago especially to look on to our sister island, Barbados, to see what is taking place and the latest developments as it relates to how they are tackling the climate crisis and the effects of pollution especially. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, when we think about the issue of how are we seeking to tackle these issues, one of the things that reigns a lot in your mind, I think, is the beverage container bill, which Trinidad and Tobago has been dragging its feet on for a number of years. We've been talking about recycling in this country, and why are we not seeing greater efforts? We should have really a national exercise, moving just from, you know, those IKEA recycle bins and so forth, to how does recycling take place at the home level, and the specialized trucks to collect these items at the corporation level throughout all of the municipalities across Trinidad and Tobago. We can do our part, and especially with Trinidad and Tobago being an emitter of carbon because of the oil and gas industry, I think that it is so very important for us to be seriously pursuing the effort to reduce our carbon footprint and to improve on garbage collection and reduce pollution of our waterways, pollution on land. We have air pollution and so forth. We have a very, very unfortunate long way to go, but I'm confident that we can do it with the right political will, of course. This is where we need to see an all-of-government approach, because when you look at ministry to ministry, there has to be efforts and an understanding of what that vision is to prevent further pollution from taking place. So the beverage container bill, which we are waiting to finally get passed and then assented to, and then seeing it being proclaimed and all of the mechanics to go into that. While we wait on that, there is a lot that we can do on an individual basis, and even for the private sector to step up and to create pathways. We shouldn't wait on the government to be the one to put that legislative or policy framework in place. Now, of course, with the government taking the lead on that end, it will make the job that much easier, because there will be standards across the board that all private sector actors and so on can follow. But in the absence of that, it's not an excuse for us to just throw our hands up in the air and say, well, when that happens, then we will start protecting the environment. It goes back to when we go to the river, when we go to the beach, when we go on a hike. Let's make sure that we are able to take away our waste with us, and that we're not leaving it at the side. We are not saying with that ridiculous mindset of that's why we have CPEP and that's why we have these organizations. We should not be as dependent on them to clean up after us. We are sensible people. I think that at the basic level we have common sense, and no one wants to simply throw rubbish out of their car onto the streets and expect that there will not be consequences for that in some way, form or fashion, whether it's flooding, whether it's an eyesore or what have you. But at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to protect and to preserve that which is around us. The environment, with a damaged or degraded environment, it reduces the chances of us living a long and healthy life. It's a basic fact. We are seeing in parts of the world where the effects of climate change and man-made pollution and so forth is having a disastrous effect, and those populations are really feeling the consequences of it. To some degree, Trinidad and Tobago, at most, we deal with the issue of flooding, and we're seeing that around the country in these past couple of days. But there are other instances of pollution impacting us, some of it apparent and some of it not so apparent. But at the end of the day, protect the environment and protect this beautiful country in which we all live and have somewhat of a long-term expectation to be there to support us in one way or another. Shifting focus now to the island of, to Dominica. We see that Chinese multinational tech company Baidu is optimistic that in the not-too-distant future, they will be able to get their self-driving vehicles in Dominica, the Caribbean region, and other parts of the world. Despite the differences in road networks, Elaine Yu, Senior Communications Specialist in the company's marketing department, has expressed confidence in the vehicle's intelligence, that it will be able to adapt to the different infrastructure once the decision to export to markets outside of China has been made. Let's take a look at some more of this.
You can see the number here. PUE number is 1.16. PUE means power usage effectiveness. So the number is the number is more closer to 1. The better the energy effective. It means we have the better effective in power use. It compute and decided. And now Baidu have offered this service in Beijing, in Wuhan, in Chongqing, over 10 cities in China. And this
in Trinidad and Tobago, we can adapt that kind of technology to have electric vehicles on the roads, and those vehicles that are involved in autonomous driving and so forth. That is the future. And it's sad that I just don't feel in Trinidad and Tobago we have been laying the groundwork or the bricks, the foundation to be able to receive that kind of technology. One of the things that off the bat, I'm sure that you can agree with me, would be a challenge for any kind of new technology on the nation's roads within vehicles are the potholes. When are we going to have a better system of dealing with it? Now, at the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, we would have seen the Secondary Roads Company being placed there. I believe that that institution has now found its way at the Ministry of Works and Transport. But the Secondary Roads Company is supposed to be able to I would hope objectively treat with the issue of a damaged road network in this country. So no longer should it be just the politicians telling you, if you vote for me, I'll fix your road. That should never be the reason for voting. Our road network should be top priority, and especially for a country that has asphalt coming out of the ground in abundance. Why are we not using our resources better? Because if we have a better road network and one where we are not seeing WASA and these utility companies digging up the road after it is paved, then we might have the chance of adopting a lot more technology, getting to work on time, because it's not the challenge of everyone having to slow down or to drive around a pothole, and we will just be better off for it. Because Trinidad and Tobago, we have a vast road network for a small island, but it continues to grow. So having the technology of electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, and so on, it would be affording us the opportunity to be a leader across the Caribbean, or maybe even in Latin America as well. But we have to make certain policy decisions that would improve that road network. We have had new legislation that deals with the Motor Vehicles Authority and so on, but it needs to go even further than that. One of the things that people have been talking about, and I surely have been clamoring for and really hoping to see, would be a revamping of the driving tests, or how persons are educated about road safety and just usage of the nation's roads. Because I don't know for those older folks how much things have changed as it relates to the information in that booklet when you go to do your driving regulations. But the fact is that it needs to adapt to a new environment right now. It really and truly has to afford us the opportunity to see people educated about road usage, to have the confidence and even the ingenuity to adapt new systems that will have a long-term effect. It goes into the kind of paint that we use on the nation's roads, the kind of traffic lights, the design and model. All of these things would need to be upgraded in one way or another to treat with the technology that is coming, regardless of if you like it or not. We might see in the future those electric buses improve transportation, and I saw recently a video about Norway and the things that they are doing there. For a population of 5 million, they have made it their mission that by 2030 they are going to have all forms of public transportation electric. And they are also really pushing for things such as, because they have ferries that are electric, imagine that you can charge a ferry, a water taxi, in a couple minutes, and that gives you battery power for about an hour to 3 hours. Those are things that we can implement in Trinidad and Tobago, but it has to be a policy decision that when we are procuring vehicles to be used on the nation's roads or in our waters, that it has to have a forward-thinking or forward-leaning capacity. So we're not purchasing things that are thriving just today, but that would have longevity, because if you buy these combustible engine vehicles and so forth, at one point in time when we have all of these charging stations and so forth, your vehicle and its usage on the road will become redundant. You might be saying, well, we are a long way from that, but that could actually change with the right policy decisions, the right political will. We can see that occurring much sooner than we think. And of course, folks, we're going to take a break. And when we come back on the other side of 7 o'clock, we have a lot more still in store for you, including regional news and a guest, our final guest, who is going to tell us about the Reunited Farmers Alliance and what they intend to do for the local government elections come in August of this year. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the WESN News on the Hour. I'm Sarah Ali. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. TNT on high wind alert orange level. Barrackpore resident begin flood cleanup nightmare. Man robbed by gunmen outside a bank in Trin-City. Regionally, St. Kitts and Nevis kicks off its ban on the use of plastics. And internationally, North Koreans open up about food shortage and starvation. Now for the details. A high wind alert orange level has been issued for Trinidad and Tobago and offshore marine areas. According to the Met Office, the alert will remain in effect until Friday, June 16th. An official report states that there is a high 70% potential for gusts in the excess of 55 kilometers, especially in the vicinity of showers. Gusts may be brief but are capable of displacing unsecured roofs and loose outdoor objects. Marine craft can be adversely impacted by these strong winds, and visibility may be extremely low during dusk and dawn. Wind waves occasionally near 2.5 meters are also expected. Residents of Barrackpore are finding the task of cleaning up after recent heavy flooding due to inclement weather to be an arduous one. Help has been slow in coming due to the slow runoff of floodwaters in the area. After weekend floods, CPEP crews and community groups lend a helping hand, assisting in the daunting task of mopping up slush-filled houses. The previous night, the floodwaters had been pumped out. However, as the dawn broke, residents had to deal with more cleanup work, as well as the stench of dead animals and flood debris. Investigations are continuing into another alleged robbery where the victim recently left a bank. According to a police report, the incident took place around 3 p.m. on Tuesday. The 35-year-old victim of Bonnet Gardens went into a bank located off Trinity Central Road where he withdrew $9,000. He then left the bank and proceeded to the Trinity Mall car park on the southern side to deposit the money at another bank. On parking his vehicle, he was approached by two men, one armed with a firearm, who instructed him to hand over the quantity of cash. The victim became fearful for his life and was relieved of the $9,000 cash, his wallet which contained $1,000 cash, and one Samsung S10 cell phone valued at $5,000. The suspects then escaped in a waiting vehicle. Regionally, the Ministry of Environment and Climate Action in St. Kitts and Nevis continues to increase public knowledge on the dangers of plastic pollution through its ongoing education campaign drive to ban single-use plastics. Minister of Environment and Climate Action, Dr. Joel Clark, updated the country during the June 12th sitting of Parliament on some of the initiatives undertaken by the ministry to bring St. Kitts and Nevis closer to banning single-use plastics. Dr. Clark said that Cabinet has approved the commencement of the ban on single-use plastics. However, with continued stakeholder consultations, the Ministry of Environment will confirm when the ban on single-use plastics will begin, taking into consideration the input from stakeholders and the general public. Internationally, people in North Korea have said that food is so scarce their neighborhoods have starved to death. Exclusive interviews gathered by the BBC inside the world's most isolated state suggest the situation is the worst it has been since the 1990s. The government sealed its borders in 2020, cutting off vital supplies. It has also tightened control over people's lives. Pyongyang told the BBC it has always prioritized its citizens' interests. A construction worker who lives near the Chinese border told the BBC food supplies were so low that 5 people in his village have already died from starvation. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I am Sarah Ali. Thanks for watching.
Young at heart, purpose-driven, patriot even. When you like to party, but are still passionate about discussing important issues, the only place where your needs will be met is WESN Content Capital.
We invite you to our 7th National Day of Prayer.
As we stand praying for the protective services of our nation, Trinidad and Tobago.
Join us on Monday, June the 19th from 2 p.m. at the Woodford Square in the city of Port of Spain.
As we stand in the gap and pray for our Commissioner of Police and police officers,
for the Acting Commissioner of Prisons and the prison officers, for the Chief Fire Officers and Firemen,
for the Air Marshal, Defense Force, Coast Guard, and Air Guard.
Declaring blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Psalm 33:12.
It is our 7th National Day of Prayer, Monday, June the 19th, 2 p.m.
Woodford Square, Port of Spain. See you there.
Preserving Belmont's heritage and building community. And St. Francis of Assisi Church, Belmont present an Enchanted Evening 3 on Sunday, June 18th, 2023 at the Academy of the Performing Arts, Napa, Lord Kitchener Auditorium from 7 p.m. featuring incredible performances by QED, Raymond Edwards, Eddie Cumberbatch, and Nigel Floyd, the National Steel Symphony Orchestra, Chrison Joseph, Hermina Charles, Nigel Rohan, Rojas, Rayon Elbon, the Shift Shakti Dance Group, and other distinguished artists. Tickets available for $250, $300, or $400 at Napa Box Office, or call the ticket hotlines at 797-9884 or 799-3306. Support the St. Francis Restoration and Enchanted Evening 3.
Welcome back to AM Prime. I am Nikolai Edwards. Now, local government elections, it's in the air. And an unlikely group, or one that you might think to be unlikely, is expected to take up the task of contesting the local government elections. Well, what group am I talking about? The Reunited Farmers. And this would, of course, be a group of farmers from across Trinidad and Tobago who are specifically interested in the advancement of agriculture and the conditions for farmers in this country. But beyond that, they have an interest in seeing Trinidad and Tobago do better, be better. And they are picking up that task of moving forward to fill a lot of these municipalities across the country where that change can be effected. And I have with me this morning Devika Thomas, and she is the leader of the Reunited Farmers Alliance. Devika, good morning and welcome to AM Prime.
Hi, good morning, Nikolai. How are you? Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago.
Nice. So, we're talking...
And I like your opening statement, an unlikely group.
Say again?
I said, I like your statement, your opening statement, an unlikely group.
Yes, and that's the thing. I think that the time now calls on, let's say, the most unlikely of us in society, unorthodox, coming forward and picking up the mantle to really bring about change in the country. Because no longer is there a particular profile of a politician. The farmer, the market vendor, the doubles man can all be politicians because if they understand the task ahead, they have something to contribute to this country, then why not? So hopefully your group and its members can really change the mindset of people when it comes to what politicians look like, should sound like, and essentially who they should be. But tell me, give me a bit of background into how did you get to the point of your group deciding that it wanted to contest local government elections?
Well, Nikolai, when you say unlikely group and you make mention of anybody, there's no profile for any one party or person getting into the politics. It can be clearly seen what the farmers are doing in the Netherlands. And they are moving forward because they want to have a say, that whatever affects them, they want to have a say. Now, everything we do is dependent on our membership. Our membership is 72,000 people strong. We have been lobbying. We started off as a lobby group. And you can see our banner at the back of Me Reunited Farmers.
Yes.
We were not alliance until recently. And we started off lobbying for the food crop farmers in this country who suffer from so many problems, predial larceny, little or no access to their lands, and all of the issues we will be hearing all over. Yes. Now, our membership spoke. They are fed up, they are tired of not being represented. They feel that they are being injusticed. The currently workers have been waiting 20 years for their lands, despite a 2007 DLC Court High Court judgment. So our membership spoke, we voted, and they decided, you know what, we need to have a say in what happens to us, what affects us. And basically here we are today.
And it's so very important for people to understand the story behind this. Because when we think about, let's say, even the United National Congress, and for all that people may see, it started off, or at least we saw the sugar workers really taking action and deciding to get political. And sometimes that's what's required in this country. If you want to bring about that change, you have to get political. I can think about when I was very much involved, and I still am, in civil society, thinking to yourself, well, we in civil society have to wait for handouts from the government, subventions and so forth. And then we have to wait to see who gets elected so we will know if they will support our agenda or not. But we can come together and decide on who are the persons to be elected and can take forward that agenda. So much like how that issue of carony workers are waiting on their leases and so forth. And some of the information that I have from you guys is that there are 3,390 298 ex-workers who are still awaiting their residential leases, 3,000 still waiting for their agricultural leases, another 1,000 leases yet to be allocated, and 1,200 leases that were allocated, then dislocated, and still to be allocated. So we are seeing a real problem that you all are facing, and you're not just sitting down on the wayside hoping that somebody deals with it. You're taking matters into your own hands. How important do you think that is now in the country? In 2023, we're seeing the parties that have governed interchangeably for a number of years. Is the time right for this?
Absolutely. Any time is a good time because, as I said, these people have been waiting 20 years, and we're speaking about over 9,000 collective people that has been waiting for a visa package that was part of their settlement on the closure of Carney in 2003. In addition to that, there is a High Court judgment. So successive governments have breached this court order. I mean, a regular man on the street can't breach a court order and get away with it like this. And we have been on the ground speaking to people, and it's, they agree that it's about time that we stand up, and have a say in what affects us. Everything affects us. Agriculture affects us. Feeding people affects us. All of these things affects us on a daily basis. And as you say, we have to wait and see who gets into power to see how we can be given a handout or some sort of something. So yes, I think the time is right now. People are both fed up of both parties at this point in time. We have been on the ground. We have, as I said, we have 72,000 members who have voted for us and asked us, yes, we need to move to the next step, the next level, so we can have a say in what affects us.
And of course, for those people who maybe think that you all are newcomers or nowcomers, this has been an effort 4 years in the making. As I had read, the Reunited Farmers Group was born 4 years ago, and you have been extremely instrumental in seeing that come to light. When you started 4 years ago, did you ever expect that you would be 4 years later sitting discussing politics and your involvement leading that effort?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. One thing led to another, and our membership called for us. We usually have, we had over 67 outreach programs all over the country, and the sentiment is the same. We need to do something. What is the next step? What is the next level? So you are lobbying on our behalf. What do we do next? What if this land is not given to us? 20 years has passed, and the court order has been breached. No one cares. What do we do next? Do we sit another 20 years? No, we can't. We wouldn't. Yes. And one thing led to another. We decided, okay, this is the next step. Our membership is supporting us. There are over 22 NGOs and other parties that are on board with us as of this time. So yeah, this is where we are today.
Nice. And I know along the journey 2 years ago, you all would have called on the public asking for support in the campaign against the government to settle the ex-Carney workers' visa packages. And a number of notable persons would have stepped forward. You saw Philip Edward Alexander, Herbert Volney, former justice, the late former justice, David Abdullah, Roll Henry, Dinesh Rambali, Kirk Sinet, and the list goes on and on.
Yes.
Has that support been building over the years from other entities seeing value in what you all are seeing and pushing?
Yes, they have. They are committed to us. They came on board. We made a clarion call for the public to come and support these workers, because these workers are all over the country. And a clarion call was made by myself 2 years ago. These people came on board, and they have continued to show support for the Reunited Farmers. And now they are showing support to the United Farmers Alliance, our new political party. Yes. In addition to that, there are over 22 NGOs that recently came on board, and several other political parties, and we would be doing another press conference next week sometime.
Nice. And I know that based on the information provided, that your organization has been registered with the EBC, the symbol has been registered. Tell us a bit more about that and that process.
Well, as I said, about a year ago, we were having consultations all over the country, and the sentiment being shared is we're waiting 20 years and we are losing hope. We don't know what to do. What shall we do? We need to be proactive. Yes. So we made a decision to register to the EBC, because these things take time. We registered to the EBC. I mean, in the event that we needed to use it, we were prepared.
Yes.
Because as you made mention earlier, we have to wait and see who's in power and who's going to help us. We were not going to take any chances. I mean, you know, we are a proactive organization, and we decided, yes, we're going to apply. We're going to put things in place. If need be, we were going to do what we have to do. So we registered with the EBC. We were approved and we have the support of our membership. So here we are today.
Excellent. And for those listening on and wanting to know, well, what do you all have to offer? What are some of the things that you're all hoping to accomplish once elected? I guess some people will call it your manifesto, some will say your policy positions, whatever term we use. What is it that you all are seeking to accomplish once elected?
Well, we have a wide cross-section of people that are on board now. We have the PEP with Philip, and, you know, he has his issues that needs to be addressed. We also have the COP on board, and we have several other NGOs. So we would sit, and then we have our own issue, which we started off for lobbying for the food crop farmers and the carony workers. So a comprehensive list of things that are very important or high on the agenda would have to be looked at first. You know, it's a concerted effort between all parties. It's an alliance, so we have to make accommodation for everyone that's on board. But we definitely will be looking at the more serious and long-standing issues.
Understood. And from now until election, what does that pathway or that journey look like? Are you all expected to have, let's say, cottage meetings? You're going to have walkabouts? Have you all started mapping out what that would look like over the next couple of weeks?
Well, our plan is, as I said, we have several members on board. We would be sharing up the corporations as we go along, and we have already started our consultation. We have had 67 consultations over the last year or so. So we have been on the ground already talking to our membership, and that's why we are here today.
Excellent. And of course, the importance of alliances right now, because we have seen where on one end the opposition leader is calling on parties to come forward. So for me, that spells or that says that, you know, alternative parties, as I say, because I hear that term, small parties and third parties and all of that. So alternative parties, alternative from the PNM and the UNC, are seeking to play an important role in this local government election because they're being called upon to form alliances, to come out and so forth. Do you think that this overall will be a successful effort for those alternative parties? Is this the time when we might actually get to see change in this country?
I believe so. Regarding our communication or our talks with these smaller parties, we have all been able to reach a decision where everyone is comfortable and happy with the accommodation made for each alliance member under our umbrella.
Understood. And how can persons get in contact with you and the team? Let's say they want to get involved. And I understand that the intention is to contest 141, all 141 electoral districts across the country on August 14th. So if persons are interested, how can they come forward and be a part of that?
Right. So they can go to our website. The people who are interested in joining us, the Reunited Farmers Alliance, that's our website. And also there's an email, Reunited Farmers Alliance at Gmail. And they can also contact 683-8008.
Nice. So that's a number again is 683-8008. Any final thoughts that you want to leave with our viewers right now as it relates to the Reunited Farmers and what you all are seeking to undertake?
What I would like to say, come on board, be a part of our alliance if you need to have a say. If things that affects you every day, you know, is bothering you, or if you feel that you don't have a voice, this is the party to be on, the Reunited Farmers Alliance.
Excellent. Well, I wish you, of course, the best of luck. Change is necessary in this country, and we need all hands on board and all boots on the ground in order to make this place that is ours the kind of place that we want it to be. For far too long, we've been complaining, we've been quarreling and throwing our hands up in the air, but it's always a beautiful thing to see citizens taking matters into their own hands, stepping up to the plate and answering that call for change. Not just making the call, but answering the call as well. So thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing with us about the Reunited Farmers Alliance.
So Nikolai, I would publicly like to invite you as well to come on board with us. So please feel free to call me.
I will, definitely I will.
We do appreciate all the assistance and all the team effort with everyone coming on board and being part of the alliance to make a change, to actually have a say in what happens and what affects us in this country.
Fully agree with you. No problem at all. And that was Devika Thomas. She is the leader of the Reunited Farmers Alliance, which you can look forward to being involved in our local government elections this year, which is taking place on August 14th. So in case you're living under a rock and you're not aware, local government elections will be taking place this year, and a lot is on the ballot. It's not just a regular local government elections, but this one in particular, we're going to be seeing municipal corporations and so forth expected to have a lot more power and a lot more say in terms of decisions being made in this country. And so a lot is riding on people coming out there, going out and voting for the individuals who you think are best suited to represent you. It should not be about voting for red and yellow only, because there are other options in this country. And of course, this is not even me telling you to, vote for the Progressive Party or anything of that sort. But the fact is, at the end of the day, we have to do things differently. We have to open up our eyes and our ears, our minds and our heart to know that there are options out there. And if we're serious about this country, we have to do what is necessary. Folks, we are going to take a break at this point. When we come back, we have some more regional news for you before we sign off on this morning's program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Seven is out. All day is in. WESN News on the hour.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
The best for your baby is at dbesttoys.com. We have the best strollers, car seats, walkers, feeding accessories, playpens, cribs, clothing, and the widest range of brand name toys like Barbie, Hot Wheels, Nerf, LOL, Fisher Price, Cocomelon, Intex Pools, Amazon Fire tablets, HP and Gateway laptops, and the best bikes, scooters, skateboards, and ride-on. Visit us in-store at 7 Main Road, McBean, or shop online now at dbesttoys.com. That's dbesttoys.com. We have the best toys at the best prices.
Kenny Sports Center is having a Grandfather's Day sale. From now until Sunday, 18th June, get an amazing 20% off everything. You heard right, 20% off everything in store. Get all your top brands like Adidas, New Balance, Kinetic, and a lot more. Visit any of our branches today: Port of Spain, West Mall, Long Circular Mall, Trinity Mall, and Carlton Center San Fernando for this amazing 20% off sale. Happy Father's Day from Kenny Sports Center, where dads are appreciated.
Welcome back, folks, to AM Prime here on WESN. I am Nikolai Edwards. Let's now shift gears again to regional news, things that are taking place across the Caribbean region. Well, heading to Jamaica, a meeting was held to find a solution to Haiti's political and economic crisis in Kingston, Jamaica. Ideas would be put forward to help find a solution to Haiti. And as you know, Haiti is really, really feeling the effects of years of political instability, earthquakes, diseases that have broke out there, and the people of Haiti have really been going through it. And there has been an effort by not just the regional leaders, but international leaders to find a solution. We know that former president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, would have been assassinated, and there have been attempts since then to form a government, to put a government in place. But currently there are no elected officials in the Caribbean island there. And as you know, Haiti shares the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic. And we are seeing stark differences between the two countries. But let's now take a look at that video and see what Caribbean leaders are seeking to undertake.
Top-level stakeholder meeting has begun to find a solution to Haiti's ongoing political and economic crisis. Discussions continued Sunday morning following the opening ceremony at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Kingston, Jamaica. The economic and political turmoil gripping Haiti is still a hot-button topic. Gang violence continues, and since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, there have been no elections. Jamaica and CARICOM are therefore facilitating a 3-day stakeholder meeting with Haitian officials. It follows a CARICOM special mission to Haiti in February, led by Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
We're convinced that with the right spirit and opportunities to facilitate inclusive participation in a neutral environment, there can be movement in building on the groundwork already laid to advance consensus. These contributions are also in support of a larger framework of complementary processes taking place at the national level in Haiti.
CARICOM's Imminent Persons Group will facilitate discussions. The group comprises 3 former prime ministers, Dr. Kenny Anthony from St. Lucia, Perry Christie of the Bahamas, and Bruce Golding from Jamaica. Speaking on behalf of the group, Mr. Golding reminded stakeholders that their decisions should be in the best interest of the almost 12 million Haitian people.
Yes, the discussions will most likely be contentious at times. Yes, ideas will be put forward that will attract criticism and objection. Yes, each of you must have the opportunity to put forward your position firmly. We ask only that it be done respectfully, with a willingness not just to listen to contending views, but to consider their merits before brushing them aside.
Mr. Golding adds that the group will travel to Haiti after the talks to build on the agreement as Haitians develop a roadmap to establishing law and order. Discussions will also take place with the Haitian diaspora, especially those in the United States and Canada. In the meantime, Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry says he was at the meeting to listen and chart the way forward to rebuild democracy in Haiti.
And of course, we wish that there is a resolution to the situation in Haiti, because the people of Haiti are suffering the most, and this reflects badly on the Caribbean as a whole, because we should be our brother and our sister's keepers, and this is a perfect opportunity for that Caribbean spirit to shine, for us to see after our own, and to make sure that the legacy of the people of Haiti is something that has gone down in the history books in a positive way, being the first of course, slave revolt. We saw that taking place in Haiti many years ago. And since then, they have gone through a lot of pain and heartache. But our thoughts are with the people of Haiti, and hopefully this is a practical solution. Folks, that's how we wrap up this morning's program here on AM Prime at WESN. And tomorrow, we're back again at 6 a.m. So be sure to tune in. Until then, have a productive day and make the most out of the day. You never know what today will bring to you, and tomorrow is another opportunity, should you be given life, to take advantage of it all again. Have a safe one.
WESN.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding